Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Dear students and dear friends, welcome back to another very interesting learning session on Indian Ethos, their application in management. The usual disclaimer applies that I as Dr. Mukhopadhyay, whatever I am telling is my personal values, personal belief. Though I am associated as the independent director with few companies and also as a visiting faculty in some institutes, but whatever I am going to tell here is purely my personal understanding of the Indian ethos. I am very happy to also tell you that I had studied at IIM Calcutta directly under one of the very famous persons, respected persons, Dr. S.K. Chakravarti. And apart from that, I have done a lot of research and scriptures reading. So I am going to present you something. And as I keep telling you, this will not only make you more knowledgeable about the Indian ethos, it will also make you more happy, and also the endeavor is to make you more successful. So we move on to transcultural human values. Now the way I would think, the way it is, because we people like you are very young, with the globalization happening, you people are going to definitely go to the various parts of the world. Maybe your grandfather did not get an opportunity like that because that was not the thing. All of our grandfathers did not go to maybe travel a large part outside India. But I think your work will take you there. Now it's very easy to go for a vacation, but even work might take you to Europe, to America, North America, South America, to Africa, to Japan, to Australia, New Zealand. So my humble suggestion to you is that perhaps the approach you should have is that neither do you think yourself as superior nor you think yourself as inferior, because both the Indian ethos and the Western ethos have got pros and cons. And I think the ultimate thing is, when he's talking about globalization, it is a blending of the management styles, right? So the approach will be a balance, santulan of Western efficiency and Indian ethics. That will be what will blend. It will be the Western style of management and the Indian style of management, if you can blend it properly with a very, very humble. Always think you are humble like the grass. Be humble like the grass, always in learning mode. Like, I've got 40 years experience, but believe me, students and friends, I really feel even today, like you, I also go to Google and chat GPT, and I'm always searching for new things, and then I'm again verifying it. It is not that I just, because sometimes there may be error. So what I do is I see that thing, and because of I have some kind of experience for so many years, I see that and see if something is not looking true, then I again cross check it. So what is the effects? We are talking of neither this is superior nor that is inferior. We want to blend it with a lot of humility. We want to blend it and be like the grass who's willing to approach, be always in the learning mode. And what will happen in that case is both your productivity will increase and your happiness will increase, right? Because if you go, let's say, to Germany, you should see what's the good thing of Germany. If you go to Japan, see what is the good thing in Japan. If you go to Kenya, you understand what is the good thing of Kenya. You go to South Africa, think what is the good thing of South Africa. So when you see like that, and at the same time, if you are having that self-confidence that no, I have also come from India, Bharatvarsh, it's got a very rich culture and heritage. So you are in a learning mode. So you are going to absorb the good things and our good things are there, make a blending. So ultimately what will happen is, in that case, it will lead to both productivity as well as increased happiness. Your acceptance in a foreign country, in a foreign culture will be more. Again, when they come to you, when those people come to your organization in India, you also embrace them with a very, very open this thing. So what will happen is the absorption will happen, and it will lead to higher productivity and also higher happiness, because you are accepting that person. So when that happens, what happens is you will lead to an employee delight. That is very important. When you have employee delight, you will be able to actually serve your customers better, you will be able to draw the good response from the customer. And the idea of any business ultimately is to satisfy your customer. So when you are happy within, it will show, and you will be able to make your customer more satisfied, and you create a very good image of the organization where you work, which is so dear to us. Now I will give an example. I have worked both in multinationals as well as Indian companies. Now one thing which is there is teamwork, because in the school and college you can go alone, you have the syllabus, you read alone at your home, and if you are meritorious and hardworking, you can do very well in the exam. But in the office situation, when you are working in an organization, it is always about teamwork, right? And the HR department, the human resource department, they will sometimes take us to maybe an other place, do birthday parties, we celebrate some functions together. The whole idea is that all the employees gel together, and or even in appraisals written that are you a team player. But every company is struggling that am I able to get good teamwork done or not. It's a huge problem. So I am going to give you an anecdote from the Indian ethos, and the advantage of the storytelling is that when you hear a story, it leaves a lasting impact for us for a very long time. Like we all have heard about the story of the hare and tortoise. All of us have heard about it, and it we all know that such an a race cannot happen between a hare and tortoise in the real world. But the great writer who wrote it, the fable was written so that when it remains, it gives us a very lasting memory of the hare and tortoise. And then we realize that we should not be like the hare who is having an advantage, but because of the arrogance is winning the race very easily, but it stops, and the slow and steady person, the tortoise, wins the race. So how do if a father tells a child that beta, slow and steady will win the race, so be slow and steady, so he will not be able to vividly recollect it. But as soon as the image of the hare and tortoise comes, and then his father says, you have seen beta, the tortoise won the race, so you need to be slow and steady. Now in the student life, what it meant was that, let's say in the good old days when there was an annual examination or when there is a semester examination, the story of hare and tortoise is that you have to regularly study throughout the semester, right? Similarly, in the office also you will have annual target, you will break it down to quarterly targets, and it always told that the year ending JFM, the January, February, March month, you tend to achieve more. The reason is in the first few months you are in a bit of a slack mode, but the idea is to remain continuously into your job so that you don't have pressure in the last month or so. So I am going to tell you about this very interesting anecdote. You may not be able to relate directly, but I will tell you the thing that in the good old days, everyone wanted to live very long. They wanted to be Amar, they never wanted to die actually, right? today I do this, why I am telling you, you may not be able to realize that when you see someone and you tell him that, you know, I was thinking about you, you live very long, and immediately says, no, I don't want to live very long. But you know, 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago, 100 years ago, one of the wish was Ayushman Bhava. That means have a long life, and that was the best Ashirvad the mother or father could give. So these Asurs, who are not supposed to have the most highest virtues, they finally do tapasya and they go to heaven, they are invited to heaven, and they ask to God that now that you are very happy, we want to become Amar. So tell us. So the God says, okay, I will tell you the secret. You know, in that container, the Amrit is there, nectar, the divine nectar is there. If you drink it, you will have eternal life. But there is only one condition. If you see in that container, the spoon is very long, right? Very long. It is about 6 feet long. So basically, only thing is that you cannot bend your hand while drinking. You know, the Asurs are very strong physically. So the Amrit is there. There is a very long spoon, maybe let's say 6 foot spoon is there. Only thing you should have the Amrit, like I am bending the hand here, but they said no, you cannot bend the hand, you have to drink it. So that was the condition. So the Asurs are very, very strong people. They said no problem, we are going to drink it like this. But however much they tried to drink this thing without bending the hand, they could not drink the Amrit. So then finally, after using a lot of strength, after trying and trying and trying, they gave up. And they asked God, what is this? This is not the right thing. You have given us a trick. But then God calls a person who is a very virtuous person, and he says, okay, why don't you show him how to do it? So what he does is that with the long spoon, he feeds another person, and the other person now takes a long spoon and feeds this person. So the word I have used here is, you have to mutually nourish each other. So how to improve teamwork? That is the, you know, I have given you an anecdote. So when you become a boss, you become a leader, try to foster a culture of excellence, innovation, and a culture where people nourish each other instead of only eating. So you know, not only in office, even in sports. Like for example, if you are playing football or if you are playing hockey, there is this very famous movie in India which was a super hit movie, Chak De. So there also it was shown that if you have to score goals and you have to win, you should not only think of, you know, hitting the goal and being a star. The team has to win. You have to pass the ball in the right time. Same in football also. There will be 1 or 2 will be stars, but the person who doesn't only keep the ball but passes the ball at the right time is the one. So it is very unlikely that in any kind of a project that you are doing, whether it's now an AI project or a software project, any R&D, any manufacturing that you are doing, it is always a chain, right? Like we said that ultimately the aim of the organization is to serve the customer. To serve the customer, the product has to be given to him. For the product to be given to him, it has to be manufactured with high quality. Not only manufactured, but with high quality. For the product to be manufactured with high quality, the raw materials has to be coming in time, the machines have to work in time, and everything has to work in tandem. And for the raw material to come in time, the supplier must supply the raw material in time and high quality raw material. So you see, life is always a chain, and even if one person is weak in the chain will break, or it will be only as good as the weakest person of the chain, right? So therefore, this is a very good anecdote I am telling you on how to improve the teamwork. Please remember this and try to create an environment of doing that. And when you feed your colleague, the colleague develops a good trust, good feeling, and it is hoped that he will again do it. One more secret I will tell you. I am telling you from my experience, not from a book all the time, that if you help 3 people or if you help 5 people, 4 out of the 5 may not help you, but 1 out of the 5 will remember you. So the law of, there will be some bad eggs always. So the idea is you go on helping, you create where in the office where people think that you are a very helpful person, and hopefully I am sure that the help will come back to you. So is there a definition of the transcultural human values as we move to a globalized workplace, and how values impact work culture? Let us examine that. As I was repeatedly saying, I am reiterating that point, neither think that you are superior nor think that you are inferior. Always you are in a learning mode. And the other thing that is there, I have written this from my personal knowledge of things, don't be too curious in other people's matters in a global setting. In Indian context, if you see, like whenever we would have gone to our uncle's home, like our father's friend's home, uncle's home, they will ask a lot of personal things about you. If you are a student, they will ask, what are you studying? In class 12, how much marks you got? They might even ask you, if you are a boy, do you have a girlfriend? So this kind of personal questions is very much okay in an Indian setting. So, but in a global setting, this is absolutely not okay, because the person may find very awkward if you are asking this kind of inquisitive questions. Like I was told about this friend of mine who had gone to England, and there are a lot of photographs of this person with 2-3 ladies, and he started asking that, who is this lady? He said, this is my wife. Who is this lady? This is my ex-wife. This is my ex-wife. But a complaint came from that gentleman to the Indian company that the officer who has been sent, he probes too much into personal life. So please do not do that. That is not accepted. In the Indian culture, if you are offered food, we try to finish the whole food, because food is considered wasted if you don't do it. And people feel that perhaps आपको खाना अच्छा नहीं लगा, you did not enjoy the food, that's why I left it unfinished. So normally in Indian setting we try to finish the food. There are some countries where if you finish the whole food, the host may feel bad. He said, तूने पूरा खा लिया, so that means did I not give you enough? So you must, before you go to another country, please read up, please understand the culture of that country. It's very important. Do not be inquisitive, do not ask any details of the family photos they have. Some common good work culture that we have, that will be universal. You must have respect, you must have inclusivity, and focus on productivity. We must always have ethical behavior, and we must have a sense of fairness. So when you are fair, it is always appreciated. Because very soon, I think, because you people are studying so much, you will become leaders, you will have followers, you will have employees under you. So always think about their well-being and their engagement. The core human values in the work culture, these are actually well accepted, so we can do that. As we have been discussing again and again, the integrity is very important. Like whatever you are thinking, you must say that, whatever you are saying, you will do that. So, there has to be, you must come out as a person that whatever you say, are you going to do that? You must have a lot of respect for the other person, and you must have a lot of empathy for the other person. It is very important that, whereas meeting of deadlines is very important, no doubt about it, but meeting deadlines, if you have empathy also, you will be a better leader. And today, because none of us can do the work alone, we must always be in a collaboration kind of mode. And accountability is very important. You should be accountable. Before you ask other people to be accountable, you should yourself be feeling that, no, am I accountable for my actions? And that should be reflected in your work, so that the people feel as a leader that you are delivering the goods yourself first. Before you point out at the other persons whether he is doing his work or not, you need to be extremely accountable for that. Now, there is a very famous saying that honesty is the best policy, right? But I find that in your generation, I interact a lot. They say, no, that was in the old times, and nowadays, honesty will not be the best policy. Now, I thought, how do I explain to you, how do I try to convince you whether honesty is good or not? Let's look at this. We all want to have good friends. We all want to have a good boss, okay? Now tell me something. Would you like to have a friend who is not honest? Would you like to have a friend who tells you, I am giving a simple example, very simple example, who tells you that my mother is not well, you give me 5,000 bucks, and you go with honesty and that good feeling you give him, and later on it is found that his mother is not well, he takes away the money which you so lovingly gave, and he had promised to return it within 10 days, but he is not returning. I am giving a small example. Would you like that kind of friend? Not only you, no one wants that kind of friend. So what does that mean? You also should not be like that person, because if no one likes that kind of person, you also should not be like that kind of person, right? So therefore, I would reiterate that being honest and ethical in all actions, it is always a very, very good thing. So please do not believe your friends or someone who is telling you that honesty is not the best policy in the long term. It is the best policy in the long term. And decision making is very important. Always we are saying a transparent decision making, that if you have made a decision, if you share with your people that why you have made the decision, it will be much better. And also to some extent, maybe in a very emergent situation, it is not possible to discuss with everyone all the time, but most of the time it is better that you take opinion of the other people also, and you do a transparent decision making. Now, it is transcultural. So there is this very famous Western concept which I really like, is McKinsey's 7S framework. So what does it talk of? Strategy, structure, systems, staff, skill, etc. And the last one, which I really like the most, is the shared values. What does it mean? That as a leader, you want to take the company in a particular direction, but are you sharing the values with your colleagues or not? That is very, very important. Is only when that thing percolates down below, then only it will have a better result. We call it buy-in. In West we call it a buy-in. I have an idea, instead of forcing it on you, I am trying to make it transparent decision making, so that basically what happens is that we are willing to very happily go along with me as a leader. And we have done that we have explained that many times, the long term benefits of integrated business. Many of you, I wish, becomes entrepreneurs who not only have become job seekers, but to be job creators. And as you know, in India, we are really focusing on MSME sector, the micro, small, medium. No one can become a very large 1,000 crores company in one day. It always has to start as a micro, then small, then medium, and then becomes large. So even in that, when you start as a small organization, we have 5 people, 7 people, 25 people, 100 people, definitely do integrity in business, because then only it will be a up and down, but the graph will always be moving up. See, basically, if you look at a small business in a village, and it is quite possible that you are only comfortable with a very certain section of the society, with your relatives and friends we want. But you know, boss, as the organization becomes bigger, you have to have a lot of inclusivity. That is the mantra now of success. So one more thing is there, even 25 years back, you know, broadly for any country, 50% of the population has to be female population. And if any country has to increase the GDP of the country, if the country has to become prosperous, you must have more and more women in the workforce. So by gender inclusivity, I mean that, you know, having more ladies in your team, and it is very important that we treat them absolutely like a colleague, with full respect to them. You have to understand their needs. They also have important family needs. But ultimately, mentally, you must feel that I must have women in the team, and I must have a lot of respect for them, and only then will the team be able to get better. And we must create a very safe and supportive environment from them. Gone are the days when office means 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock, 10 baje aana, 5 baje jana. Those days are now over, because you know you're many times serving your customers are having maybe 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours time difference. So naturally you will have to work late night, early morning. So it is very important that to create a very safe environment in the office, an office which is supportive of people with different cultures, different diversity, because everyone is unique. That is okay. I leave this very noble thought from the Indian ethos. Not only is he unique, if you can feel he is Devangsh, he is a part of divine. So when you see that person, you treat him with so much respect, because you feel that I am a part of God, he is also a part of God. So this is a very lofty kind of a thing, and we connect. It's an engagement of hearts in the work in a broader way, and not in a boy-girl love way. I'm saying in a broader way, sublime way. With every staff member, you are trying to embrace his diversity, because your 1-point program is to come to serve the organization, to serve the society, to serve the nation. What will facilitate that is a very active listening and open communication. You know this, but I'll still tell you that sometimes you ask how are you, and you are just, before the person has replied also, you have walked away. So that is matlab, you are just not doing listening, you are not doing active listening. So it is very important that you are listening to that person with genuineness. We are listening to that person very, very carefully. So though it is written in the slide, but because it is very, very important, I am saying that you need to create a very safe and supportive environment, because remember the days of those 10 o'clock office to 5 o'clock, when the 10 baje aana, 5 baje jana, it is not going to happen, because with globalization, you are going to be in different time zones. So Australia has a different time zone, India has a different time zone, and America has a different time zone. But you have to serve, Europe has a different time zone. So we need to create a very safe environment, a very supportive environment. And you have to be a very, very active listener. When you say, how are you? Before you reply, if you go away, that is not listening. I am saying active listening, matlab with full attention. You are listening to the other person with full attention. He feels that I am being heard. And you apply your mind to it, and open communication. That means not that you have already prefixed everything in your mind, you are listening to him but your decision is already taken. No, you are open to new ideas, you are willing to listen to him very carefully, patiently. Everyone, because we are saying is different, he will bring a different perspective to that same problem. So the question is, if you are a good leader, like you want to become a good leader, can you recognize the different perspectives? That is very important. And because of the high stress situations, long hours, deadlines, people nowadays many times are falling mentally sick. 25 years back, I don't think in any of my classmates ever said that they are in depression. It's a new word, depression. So therefore, because people are not able to cope with the stress, family stress, work stress, different kind of work. So is your organization giving support for that, right? We have discussed how you look within and you try to combat. But for some people, they actually may require, support from outside also. So your organization must be there to take care of that support. And good leadership is always about compassion, about genuine feelings. It is not, I am not teaching you acting here. Do you genuinely feel good about the other person? Are you genuinely concerned about the other person? So it is not about acting that you are showing some kind of thing which is, no hoshiari is involved in this. It is about simplicity, it is about genuineness. So I'll give you another example from the Indian ethos. We had King Vikramaditya, who was supposed to be a great king. Now it so happened that with passage of time, Vikramaditya